Hey there everyone, welcome back to Learn to Play TV. Well, today we received another package from our friends over at TrollandToad.com. They were awesome enough to send us a full countertop display of the newly released Yu-Gi-Oh! Series 1 Heroclix set. And I for one am extremely excited to finally be able to do an unboxing of this set with you guys today. So I want to make sure to thank everyone over at TrollandToad.com for sponsoring this video. And for those of you at home, remember to check out TrollandToad.com today for all of your Heroclix needs by either clicking the link in the top right hand corner of this video, or you can find a link to their site below in the description. Now this set is a full-blown set offering 55 characters to collect, 3 of which are the all-elusive chase figures. Now this set also introduces the new in-game mechanic of traps and spells, which we were able to get a small preview of in the starter set video. So I'm really excited to see how that mechanic continues to flesh out in this set. Now I'm not 100% sure on how the distribution is looking for these countertop displays, but I am thinking that we will probably pull at least 2 to 3 super rares and a chase. But I could be completely wrong. We won't know until we finally dive in. Either way, I'm going to be happy with anything that we pull out of here today. So that's enough of me jabbering. Let's go ahead and dive right into this unboxing. So let's start off with this package right here. Now I've got to say, WizKids, you're doing a really good job with this package art. We have Blue Eyes White Dragon here on the front. That is an awesome picture of him. And on the back here we have actually the 3 chase figures that are available in this set. We have the Dark Magician, we have Red Eyes Black Dragon, and Blue Eyes White Dragon. Now we did see these 2 figures here in the starter set. And it is nice to know that the chase figures in this set are actually new sculpts. So that is a nice touch, WizKids. Good job on that. And our first pack has, hopefully we're not going to pull the chase, but we did not. We have, and I apologize now if I mispronounce any of these, but we have Suijin, and that is a sweet looking sculpt. I'm really liking the way these Yu-Gi-Oh! Sculpts are looking. The cartoonish look is really kind of cool, and I'd like to see them continue that in these future sets, because they're really going to continue to produce these Yu-Gi-Oh! Sets one after another. You just wait and see. Alright, and the second one we have Thousand Eyes Idol, and that is another cool looking sculpt. Now if I could pick a chase figure out of here that I really wanted, I would probably say it's got to be the Dark Magician. He's always been one of my favorite figures and characters in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Universe. And that would just be awesome to pull him. Alright, so we have Kinetic Soldier. Oh, and I totally forgot that these do have rarities. This is actually an uncommon figure. And let me go back and check these 2 here. We have another uncommon. And this is a common figure. So now that we're all caught up with that, I'll make sure to keep updated with that. So next pack we have here, Berserker Gorilla. Now that is a really cool figure. We were able to see a preview of this figure from WizKids earlier before the set came out. That is an awesome figure to have. So have you guys opened up any of this yet? Have you guys pulled anything good? What's your guys' favorite characters? I'd really like to know, because I'm really looking to play this set a lot, because Yu-Gi-Oh! Has always been one of my favorite stories, and playing the card game was a lot of fun. So, leave a comment down below, and I'd like to know what you guys think of this set. And here we have, this is Sengen. That's another cool looking sculpt. They are definitely getting really good at this sculpting. And we got so many packs here. There's 24 packs in this gravity feed. So, and here we have the Neko Main King. Now that's another really cool figure that we were able to preview. He's got this trait here called Nuisance, and it states that when Neko Main King takes damage from an attack, after action resolve, characters on the attacker's force can't be given actions until that player's next turn. That is just ridiculous. Now this is just a common figure, and that is just going to be so annoying for people. That is awesome figure. So moving right along. Let's see what we pull here. Flame Swordsman, that would be an awesome character to pull as well. Let's see. This guy, we have Kinetic Soldier. And that is a common figure. Let's see. Let's go for this pack right here. Feeling like we haven't pulled any rares or super rares. And let's see, who do we got here? Another uncommon, and this is the Asura Priest. That's a cool looking sculpt. Pretty big one. Nice paint job on these. I think you can get a lot of the well-known monsters in this set. I think there's, yeah, the Flame Swordsman. You have Gate Guardian in this set. There's those, let's see, I think it's the Alligator Swords Dragon. That's another cool figure in this set that would be cool to pull. Oh, this is a cool one here. So we have Baby Dragon, and that is a common figure. And that's just a cool sculpt. I'm really liking that dragon. That's cool looking. Have a whole little army of those guys. It is kind of nice that we haven't pulled any doubles yet. Now, I don't really expect to pull a lot since we only have 24 packs in this and it is a 55 figure set. So I'm hoping we get very little. Alright, so here's another common. We have Mother Grizzly. Alright, and get some of these rares. I mean, where are these things? Few and far between. And here's a common. And this is the Witty Phantom. It's a cool looking sculpt. Alright, maybe this one. This one going to give us something good. Oh, nope. And here is the Desferrel Imp. And this is another figure that we're able to see from the starter set. Alrighty. We got quite a few packs left here. Alright. Who do we got here? Oh, here we go. And this is an uncommon, but this is I think it's Mechanical Chaser. That's how you pronounce that. It's another really cool sculpt. Man, still haven't pulled any of these higher rarity figures. Either they're all just waiting for, you know, the end of the video, or what? Oh! And as I say it, there is our chase figure, the Blue Eyes White Dragon. And that is a big sculpt. That is really cool. Well, there is one. Oh, it looks like his tail fell off. Well, that's okay. Well, actually, I think it just pops right in there. He's a real big sculpt. Well, that is cool. I can take care of that. Well, there we go. So we got the chase so far. We go from uncommon and commons right to chase. Let's see what else we got here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 packs left. And here's another super rare. And this is an awesome one to have. This is Gaia the Dragon Champion. And that is just an awesome looking sculpt. Again, Yu-Gi-Oh! Set has some awesome sculpts in this. They're really gonna, you know, lay the bar, you know, or I'm sorry, set the bar for other sets as far as their sculpting goes. These are really cool. And here we have a common. This is Cyber Soldier of Dark World. And that's just a cool paint job. Sorry if it gets a little noisy. It is raining. It's starting to get pretty hard here. Hopefully the mic's not picking it up too loud, but either way. Oh, and I think this is another super rare. Oh no. This is a rare. This is a rare figure. Couldn't see that, but that is silver. That is a rare. And this is the Alligator Sword Dragon, like we had talked about earlier. That's another cool sculpt. Down to, it's like 6 packs. Here we're cool. A little happy lover. That's just a little figure, a little fairy. It's got a little smile on it. It's interesting looking. Now, when we're all done opening these packs, I will go ahead and pull these out, and we'll go ahead and show you up close what these look like, and do a little review on each of these figures. So stay tuned for that. Now, this is a cool one, the Injection Fairy Lily, and that is a super rare. There's another cool sculpt, very famous monster from the Yu-Gi-Oh universe. Let's see. Getting down to the wire, 4 packs left. So that's what, 2 super rares so far in a chase? It's not too bad. So far we're on point. So here's a common, and oh gosh, this is going to be an interesting one. Kamakuramin? It's like a praying mantis guy. It's a cool looking sculpt. Alrighty. Let's see what we got here. This is a cool one. This is Sangha of the Thunder. Another cool looking sculpt. And down to 2 left. So we've gotten, I think it was 2 super rares, I believe, and the chase. So these are probably going to be maybe a rare, let's see, maybe a common, uncommon. So this is a Desferrel Imp, another figure that we were able to see in the starter set. Very cool figure. And the last pack is, drum roll. Oh, let's see if it's good. Oh, it's a big guy. And it is a common. And this is Sengen Jin. And that is a really cool looking figure. Excellent. Well, we got some awesome pulls. I'm going to go ahead and pull them out right now, get them all set up, and we're going to go over them and do a little review. Hold on real quick. So to start us off with our commons, we have Berserker Gorilla, who can be played at 70 points with 6 clicks of life. This fire-breathing gorilla starts off with improved movement that ignores hindering terrain, elevated terrain, and characters. So good luck locking this guy down. His dial starts off with a combination of charge and super strength with battle fury, and some toughness for defense. On click 2, Berserker Gorilla picks up Flurry, giving you twice the chances to stick it to your opponent. And now on click 3, we would normally start to see a dial transition, but this gorilla gives you 110% all day, every day. Instead, Berserker Gorilla drops his super strength and bumps up his damage to a 3 to compensate. Now on to click 4. We see that Berserker picks up charge once again, and close combat expert, giving you the potential to do 4 damage at melee range. Now that is an awesome click for the back half of a dial, but let me tell you, it doesn't stop there. Moving along to click 5, Berserker Gorilla picks up Flurry, Combat Reflexes, and Battle Fury, for a potential to do 6 damage. And as we reach his final click, the 6th click, this gorilla picks up charge one last time so he can finally chase down his final victim. And if he wasn't able to finish off your opponent with that, he has Close Combat Expert waiting to seal the deal. Berserker Gorilla is a great example of a 70-point damage dealer. He's not quite a full-blown tentpole, but if you let this guy loose in your opponent's front line, expect nothing less than to see him on his warpath. Next up, we have the Cyber Soldier of Dark World, and he can be played at 41 points with 4 clicks of life. Cyber Soldier starts off with Running Shot, a 9 attack, toughness, and range combat expert for 2 damage. And that's not a bad way to start. On click 2, Cyber Soldier drops his Running Shot to pick up Stealth, allowing you to snipe people from the bushes undetected with your range combat expert. Now on clicks 3 and 4, Cyber Soldier transitions into a support piece. Overall, for 41 points, I do feel that Cyber Soldier falls a bit short for my expectations. Not that I'm saying that he's a bad figure, it's just that I find that this figure will rely too heavily on your team build in order to be effective. And compared to some of the other figures in this set in the same point range, Cyber Soldier just gets outclassed. Here we have the Desferrel Imp, who can be played at 53 points with 6 clicks of life. This imp starts his dial with the classic combo of Charge and Blade Claw Fang, with combat reflexes for defense. On click number 2, he drops his Blade Claw Fang, but bumps up his damage to a 3. Now, when we do get to click number 3, Desferrel Imp begins to show his transition. He picks up Battle Fury and some toughness for protection. Now the transition does continue into click number 4, where he drops Charge and picks up Flurry. And on click 5, we see that Desferrel Imp has finally finished his transitions. Here, he picks up super senses and exploit weakness, allowing you to really dish it to your opponent. And if that wasn't enough, on click number 6, his final click, you get a little Blades and Flurry action for a possibility of 12 damage. And I gotta say, that's kinda nasty for a final click. Next on our list, we have Hero's Shadow Scout, who could be played at 54 points with 5 clicks of life. This Shadow Scout starts off with improved targeting that ignores hindering terrain and opposing characters. So all you stealthies beware, no one can escape this guy's gaze. On his first click, he starts off with leap climb, defend, and probability control. And he continues to hold on to those stats up until his third click where he drops his defend. Next, on click 4, Hero Shadow Scout abruptly transitions by picking up stealth and super senses, but luckily maintains his probability control. And on his final click, he finally loses his probability. Overall, I do feel that Hero Shadow Scout is a great support figure for 54 points. You just can't beat the combination of his improved targeting and that prob. Here we have Kamakuramin, who could be played at 46 points with 4 clicks of life. Kamakuramin starts off his first click with charge, a 10 attack, and 3 damage, as well as a white defense ability called Bug Eyes. And it states, Kamakuramin can use super senses and toughness. Now I gotta say, I like that combination. Super senses has worked very well for me in the past. But let's keep going. On click number 2, we see that he has dropped his charge and has picked up a combination of Flurry and Blade Claw Fang. And on his final click, we do see that he pretty much drops all of his abilities. But don't worry, he does hold on to his super senses. So here's hoping that your rolls are on par tonight. Overall, I do feel that this character is a bit lacking for my taste. He relies too heavily on Blade Claw Fang to really do some decent damage. And for the point cost, I really would like at least one more click of life. 4 clicks nowadays just seems a little too low for an almost 50-point figure. And here we have Kinetic Soldier, who can be played at 64 points with 5 clicks of life. Now Kinetic Soldier here starts off with a trait called Warriors Are Weak. And it states, when Kinetic Soldier targets a character that can use Blade Claw Fang or charge with an attack, modify Kinetic Soldier's attack and damage values by +1. That is an awesome trait. There is so much Blade Claw Fang and charge in this game, I expect to see that effect being used quite often. He opens up on his first 2 clicks with Running Shot and Energy Explosion, as well as Energy Shield Deflection for defense. On click 3, he does drop his Running Shot, but picks up Range Combat Expert, giving you a potential of 4 damage. Now on clicks 4 and 5, he holds on to all of his previous abilities, but picks up Sidestep, allowing you to maneuver into position to snipe out your opponents. Overall, I feel that Kinetic Soldier is a great figure for the point cost. He offers so many great abilities that give him the opportunities to really dish out damage to your opponent. This is one soldier that everyone's going to want to have. Moving right along, we come to Mother Grizzly, who can be played at 96 points with 6 clicks of life. This awesome looking bear opens up with a trait called Motherly Protection, which states, Mother Grizzly and adjacent friendly characters can use toughness. Now that is a very nice trait. Being able to give adjacent characters toughness is a really nice fallback to have. Mother Grizzly opens up with a whole handful of abilities. She starts off with Charge, Quake, Willpower, and Battle Fury, and all for 4 damage. Now that is quite an opening click. On click 2, she keeps all of her stats, but does drop her Quake in return for Blade Claw Fang. And personally, I feel that is a much better option. Now on clicks 3 and 4, we do see the transition point for this dial. Mother Grizzly drops her charge and picks up Plasticity, as well as she gets rid of her Willpower and Battle Fury, and in return picks up Combat Reflexes and Exploit Weakness, showing that even in the middle of her dial, she still means business. Now as we get to clicks 5 and 6, we do see that this is the end of her dial. She drops her Blade Claw Fang, as well as her Exploit Weakness, and picks up Battle Fury once more. Overall, Mother Grizzly is a great figure for 100 points. She is a great protector, and if your opponent decides to get in too close, she's going to quickly let them know that this is her house. And next we have Neko Main King. And this figure can be played at 55 points and has 4 clicks of life. and this has to be one of my favorite figures in this whole set, and here's why. This guy opens up with a trait called Nuisance, and it states, when Neko Main King takes damage from an attack after action resolve, characters on that attacker's force can't be given actions until that player's next turn. That is just filthy. Open up with a little army of these guys and your opponent's not going to be able to do a thing. This guy's dial is nothing but annoyance. He has a white movement ability that spans across all 4 clicks called No Escape, and it states, Neko Main King can use facing teleport and plasticity, essentially meaning that if you thought you got away, think again, and if he catches you, you're not getting away. Now he has an attack value of 9 across all 4 of his clicks, but what really puts the icing on this cake for me is his damage abilities. On click 1, he starts off with Perplex, and then alternates once he gets to his second click with Outwit, and then again on click 3 picks up Perplex, and you've guessed it, on click 4 he gets Outwit once more. For 55 points, this annoying little piece is really going to be the most fun piece to play. Here we have Sengen Jin, who could be played at 125 points with 9 clicks of life. Now right off the bat, this guy screams tentpole. Sengen Jin has just enough ability spread out across his dial to make him an effective tank against your opponents. On his first 2 clicks, he starts off with Leap Climb and Super Strength, combined with Battle Fury and Toughness, and all for 3 damage. Now on clicks 3, 4, 5, and 6, we see that he makes his transition into his tank form, where he drops his Leap Climb and Toughness abilities and in return picks up Charge and Invulnerability, giving you even more maneuverability and protection. Now on click 7, we do see that he reverts back to his original abilities, picking up Leap Climb and Toughness once again, effectively showing us that he is winding down. And on clicks 8 and 9, we finally see the transition. He completely drops his Super Strength, but does maintain a decent attack value and printed damage. Overall, for 125 points, Sengen Jin is a great tentpole. Pair him up with some effective DPS like a Kinetic Soldier or even a Berserker Gorilla, and together you will have the potential to melt your opponent's teams. And here we have the last of our common pulls, the Witty Phantom, who can be played at 64 points with 5 clicks of life. This Witty Phantom opens up with quite a few abilities, starting his first click with Stealth and Smoke Cloud, as well as Mastermind and Outwit, showing us that this guy would be most effective paired up with some pretty tanky figures. Now this Witty Phantom continues to hold these stats up until his 3rd click, where we do see a change to his defense. He drops the Mastermind and picks up Super Senses. And moving on to click 4, we see that his transition has been completed. He drops his Smoke Cloud and picks up Steel Energy. And on click 5, we see that we have come to the end of the road. He drops Outwit, but manages to maintain the rest of his stats and abilities. All in all, this Witty Phantom could be a lot of fun to play. Paired up with the right figures, this Witty Phantom could really put a dent in your opponent's team. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our uncommon pulls. To start us off, we have the Asura Priest, who can be played at 49 points with 6 clicks of life. The Asura Priest opens up his first click with a white movement ability called Multiple Arms, and this ability states, give Asura Priest a double power action. Asura Priest can immediately make 4 close combat attacks as a free action, but can't target the same character with more than 2 attacks. Now the Asura Priest's first click also gets a 10 attack with a 17 willpower and a 2 damage with Battle Fury. Now he gets to keep these stats up until his 3rd click, where you see his middle of the dial transition. He drops his willpower and picks up some Super Senses for protection. Now on click 4, he completes his transition, dropping his white movement ability and picking up Flurry, as well as a white attack ability called Daggers of Demise. And this white ability states, once per game, give Asura Priest a ranged combat action, even if it is adjacent to an opposing character. Make a ranged combat attack with an area of effect targeting each opposing character within 6 squares in line of fire. For each hit character, roll a d6 and deal that character that much damage. Now that ability has the potential to do amazing damage. Now the Asura Priest does continue to hold these stats up until his last click, making him a deadly force till the bitter end. Next up we have the Thousand Eyes Idol, who could be played at 60 points with 5 clicks of life. And for 60 points, this thousand-eyed monster is quite the scrapper. On his first click, we see that he has a 2-target end cap with willpower and outwit, giving him the ability to load up your opponent's characters with action tokens. On click 2, he continues to keep the same stats. And on click 3, we do see that he loses outwit, but does pick up mind control. Now combine that mind control with a 10 attack and 2 targets really makes his 60-point character a force to be reckoned with. Now clicks 4 and 5, we see that the Thousand-Eyed Idol has transitioned to the back end of his dial, where he drops his Incapacitate and Willpower, but picks up Barrier, allowing you to effectively protect your team. Personally, I think this Thousand Eyes Idol is an awesome figure for the points. Here we have Canon Soldier, who can be played at 95 points with 6 clicks of life. The Canon Soldier opens up his dial with a combination of Running Shot and a wide attack ability called Cannon Fire. And this ability states, Canon Soldier can use telekinesis, but may only place adjacent friendly characters. When it does, its line of fire isn't blocked by the placed character, and after action resolve, it may make a ranged combat attack as a free action, with an area of effect targeting all opposing characters adjacent to the placed character. Hit characters are each dealt 2 damage. That is a pretty wicked telekinesis ability. It's kind of like turning your friendly character into a grenade, and you're throwing him right into your enemy's lines. Now, Canon Soldier also picks up toughness on his first click for some protection. Now we see that on click 2, he does continue to hold his stats and abilities. And on clicks 3 and 4, we start to see the middle of his dial transition, where he drops his Running Shot. And on click number 5, we see that he picks up some Ranged Combat Expert, giving him the opportunity to possibly do 4 damage on the back end of his dial. And on click 6, his final click, Canon Soldier maintains his stats, but drops his toughness, essentially leaving him open for attack. Overall, Canon Soldier is a great character to have. Next on our list, we have Sengen, and he can be played at 30 points with 5 clicks of life. Sengen opens up with a trait called Fiendish Support, and this trait states that when Sengen would be KO'd, remove all action tokens from up to 3 adjacent friendly characters, whose total point value is 150 or less. Now I'm definitely noticing a trend with the traits in this set. They are all really pretty awesome, and this one is no exception. There are so many great low point characters in this set that would be a great choice to pair Sengen up with to fully utilize his trait. But this trait isn't all that he has going for him. His dial is fairly decent as well. Now he doesn't shine with any high attack values or defense abilities, but he does have a full dial of plasticity, effectively making him a great tie-up piece. And on clicks 2, 3, and 4, we see that Sengen picks up in power, so make sure that you keep this guy next to one of your friendly character's sides at all times. Sengen is a great sidekick piece. He's not meant to do a lot of damage, but he really shines with his abilities when adjacent to a friendly character. He offers so much support for adjacent characters that it's a no-brainer that he should never leave their side. And here we have the Desferrel Imp, who can be played at 39 points with 5 clicks of life. This Desferrel Imp looks to be quite the scrapper. On its first click, we see that it opens up with Stealth and Blade Claw Fang, with combat reflexes and battle fury, which to me means that this character is ready to deal damage right out the gate. On click 2, we see that the Desferrel Imp has combined its Blade Claw Fang with Flurry and Exploit Weakness. Now on click 3, this Desferrel Imp does keep the majority of its abilities, but drops Blade Claw Fang. But on click number 4, we see that the Desferrel Imp reverts back to its first click, picking up Stealth with Blade Claw Fang, Combat Reflexes, and Fury once again. On click 5, the Desferrel Imp continues to keep its stats, but drops its defensive Combat Reflexes, effectively leaving it open for attack. Overall, for 39 points, this Desferrel Imp is a pretty decent character, offering a good amount of abilities for such a low point cost. And this little floating ball of love is called Happy Lover, and it can be played for 62 points with 5 clicks of life. Now this little guy may look like he's all happiness and sunshine, but this Happy Lover does a great job at keeping your opponent's team locked up. It opens up its first 3 clicks with a combination of Phasing Teleport, Incapacitate with 3 targets, and Enhancement to help boost your adjacent friendly range characters. Now on click 4, Happy Lover drops its enhancement, and in return picks up regeneration, giving you the potential to possibly heal Happy Lover up to his top click. All in all, for 62 points, I am really enjoying this character. Next on our list, we have the Mechanical Chaser, who can be played at 92 points with 6 clicks of life. Now, Mechanical Chaser opens up with a pretty awesome white movement ability called Whirlwind of Weapons, and it states that Mechanical Chaser can use Charge and Flurry, which is always one of my favorite combinations. And with an 11 attack and a 17 invulnerability, it's gonna be a while before someone knocks you off this click. On click 2, we do see a slight change up in the abilities, where Mechanical Chaser drops his invulnerability and picks up toughness. Now, he does keep these abilities up until click 4, where we see the addition of Exploit Weakness. As we move further down his dial, getting to his last 2 clicks, we see that Mechanical Chaser picks up Blade Claw Fang, giving you the opportunity to strike the final blow to your opponent with a potential of 6 penetrating damage. Overall, I feel that the Mechanical Chaser is a great figure to have for 92 points. Alright everyone, so we're going to go ahead and start off our rare pulls. And I do want to mention that I messed this up during the unboxing portion of this video. While I was doing the unboxing, the way the light was hitting the dials, it made it really hard to see the actual color of the rarity of the figures. So during the unboxing, I'm fairly sure that I called the majority of these rare figures common figures, so I apologize about that. But we will make sure that that is corrected here. And to start us off with that correction, we have Alligator's Sword Dragon, who could be played at 2-point values. The first is at 108 points with 6 clicks of life, and the second is 9 points, but this cost is used for the trap and spell effects associated with this figure, which we'll get into shortly. Now, Alligator Sword Dragon is loaded with some great abilities, including Duo Attack, Move and Attack, the trap and spell effect that we just spoke about recently, and finally, a new mechanic called Fusion. Now, this fusion ability does state that when a listed character is adjacent to all other listed characters and hits an opposing character, after action resolve, it may be given a free action to replace these characters with Alligator Sword Dragon from your sideline. When Alligator Sword Dragon enters the game in this way, it starts the same number of clicks from its starting line as the character given the action, and modifies its combat values by +1. This trait is active even when the character is not on the map. And those listed characters that it asks for are the Alligator Sword and a Baby Dragon. Now, I wasn't able to pull Alligator Sword this unboxing, but we did pull a Baby Dragon, which we will go over, I believe, next. But let's go ahead and move on. On Alligator Sword Dragon's first click, we see that he opens up with a combination of Charge and Blade Claw Fang, with invulnerability for some defense. Now, he continues to keep these abilities up until his 3rd click, where we see that he transitions, picking up Running Shot, Energy Explosion, and Toughness. Now, as we continue to move past the middle of its dial, we see that on click 5, Alligator Sword Dragon has transitioned into a melee monster, picking up Flurry and a Blade Claw Fang combo. And let's not forget the added use of Super Senses and Exploit Weakness. Now, on its final click, Alligator Sword Dragon gives it his all by dropping Blade Claw Fang for an 11 attack and Exploit Weakness. All in all, for 108 points, Alligator Sword Dragon is going to be an amazing character to play with. He offers a lot of great abilities that make this character fun, as well as an effective piece against your opponent. But before we go, let's go ahead and take a quick glance at the spell and trap effects associated with this figure. Now, as a reminder, a trap and spell ability states that when its character is KO'd, or when building your force by paying the purple point cost, you then add this dial face down to your trap and spell pool. Then, give a friendly Yu-Gi-Oh character a power action to set this dial from your pool by choosing either the spell or trap icon and place it face down on their card. The set character may use the effects of that trap or spell. Now, the spell and trap abilities associated with this figure are, for a spell, we have the Sword of Revealing Light, which states, give the set character a power action, and friendly characters can't be targeted by attacks until your next turn. At the beginning of your next turn, remove the spell. Now, that could be a pretty cool spell ability, and actually it sounds quite effective. But don't just settle with that. we still have the trap ability, which is called Crush Card Virus. And this ability states that when the set character is KO'd, after action resolve, you may activate this trap. Deal 1 unavoidable damage to each opposing character at 150 points or more within 6 squares of the square this set character last occupied. Then remove this trap. Now that ability is cool in its own right as well, but I do see that it's going to be used a little more situational in comparison to the spell ability. And for the next rare on our list, we have the Baby Dragon, who could be played at 71 points with 5 clicks of life. Now I have to say, I am really loving this sculpt, and really I'm enjoying all the sculpts in this set so far. WizKids has really outdone themselves with this set. But the reason why I really enjoyed this particular sculpt is it reminds me so much of a Pokemon figure that everyone, at least from my childhood, has grown to love, and that is Charizard. Now I don't know about you, but looking at this figure, can't you see WizKids releasing a Pokemon set sometime in the future? I think so. But we're talking about Yu-Gi-Oh here, so let's get back to this review. Baby Dragon starts off its dial with the Running Shot and Energy Explosion combo, and then we see that on click 2, Baby Dragon adds Range Combat Expert to its arsenal, giving you a potential to do 4 damage to your opponent. Now as we move on to click number 3, Baby Dragon transitions by dropping its Running Shot and picking up a wide ability called Fire Splash. And this ability states that Baby Dragon can use Energy Explosion and Penetrating Psychic Blast. Now on click 4, Baby Dragon starts to wind down, dropping its Range Combat Expert. But Baby Dragon isn't out just yet. It continues to hold onto its wide attack ability, giving you options to deal penetrating damage up until Baby Dragon's last breath. Next up, let's take a look at Suijin, who could be played at 95 points with 6 clicks of life. Suijin starts off with a trait called Tidal Shield, and it states that once per turn, if Suijin is adjacent to a friendly character that's the only target of an attack, you may give Suijin an action token. If you do, the attack targets Suijin, even if it is otherwise an illegal target. Now that trait could definitely come in handy, but let's go ahead and take a look at his dial. On click 1, Suijin starts off with Force Blast, an 11 attack, a 17 defense with Invincible, and a white damage ability for 3 damage. Now, this white ability is called Water Defense, and it states that at the beginning of your turn, choose any number of adjacent friendly characters until your next turn. Chosen characters decrease their attack values and increase their defense values by the number of action tokens on them. Now again, that is definitely a useful ability. Suijin continues to hold these abilities up until his 3rd click, where he picks up Invulnerability, making it just that much harder for your opponent to successfully hit him. Now on click 4, we see that Suijin starts to transition to the end of his dial by dropping his white damage ability. And on clicks 5 and 6, we see that we have finally transitioned to the end of the dial, where Suijin picks up Plasticity and Toughness. And for the last of our rares, we have Sangha of the Thunder, who can be played at 2 point values. The first is at 230 points with 9 clicks of life, and the second is at 100 points with 5 clicks. Sangha starts off with a trait called Lightning Shield, which states that when Sangha of the Thunder or an adjacent friendly character takes damage from a close combat attack, the attacker is dealt 1 unavoidable damage after action resolve. Now that reminds me of a Mystic's ability, but you're able to give it to your adjacent friendly characters, which makes it just that much better. Now on the start of his 230 point dial, we see that Sangha opens up with a combination of Running Shot and a white attack ability called Thunder Strike Attack. And this ability states that Sangha of the Thunder can use Pulse Wave, and when it does, and targets more than 1 character, its damage value becomes 2 and is locked. Now that's not a bad combination to start off, but let's not forget that Sangha of the Thunder also is toting an 18 impervious for defense and a printed 5 damage. So even if you didn't want to use the Pulse Wave ability, you still have enough power to really stick it to your opponent. Now I know this is becoming a common theme, but Sangha does continue to hold these abilities up until his 3rd click, where we only see the loss of Running Shot. But on click number 4, we start to see Sangha's transition to the middle of his dial. And on that click, we see that he picks up Running Shot once again, but combos it with Penetrating Psychic Blast and Invulnerability for defense. Click number 5 is where Sangha starts his 100-point dial, and ironically, he keeps the same stats as the previous, starting off with Running Shot, Penetrating Psychic Blast, and a 17 invulnerability. Now on click 6, we see that Sangha drops Running Shot once again. And on click 7, it looks like Sangha has changed up his abilities one more time, by dropping his Penetrating Psychic Blast and exchanging it for Pulse Wave. As we move towards the end of his dial, we see that on his last 2 clicks, click 8 and 9, Sangha of the Thunder completely drops his offensive abilities, toting only high attack values with moderate damage and toughness for some protection. Overall, I feel that Sangha of the Thunder is a decent figure. I do see myself playing his 100-point dial more often than his higher level. I feel that at this point value, you're getting a lot more bang for your buck. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our super rare pulls. The first that we're going to take a look at is the Injection Fairy Lily, who could be played at 2-point value. Her first is at 61 points with 5 clicks of life, and her second point value is 4 points, which this cost is for a trap or spell ability. Now to start this fairy off, we see that she has a trait called Super Serum, and it states, give Injection Fairy Lily a free action, and modify her combat value by +2 until your next turn. When you do, at the beginning of your next turn, deal her 2 unavoidable damage. Now I have to admit, this is the first trait in this set that I've seen that really is very situational. I definitely see the appeal to it, but for a character with only 5 clicks of life, taking 2 unavoidable damage is not something I'm going to be looking to do right away. But let's not stop there. Let's go ahead and take a look at this dial. On her first click, we see that she opens up with charge and a white attack ability called Forced Injection, and this ability states, give Injection Fairy Lily a power action and deal 1 penetrating damage to an adjacent opposing character. That character modifies its combat values by +1 until your next turn. Again, another good ability, but very situational. I would find myself only using this ability if I could really pick off a character that only needed 1 more click to kill it. Now on click 2, we see that Injection Fairy Lily keeps the majority of her stats, but she does make one significant change. She does drop her white attack ability, and in exchange picks up Exploit Weakness, which personally I feel is a better trade. Now on click 3, she transitions one more time, picking up her white attack ability and super senses for defense. And on click 4, we do see that she loses the ability one more time, and in exchange picks up Exploit Weakness again. Now on her final click, her 5th click, we do see a little bit more significant change. She does drop her charge, and in exchange picks up Earthbound, and combos it with her white attack ability once again. Now let's go ahead and take a quick look at these trap and spell abilities. First, let's take a look at this spell ability called Shrink, and it states, give the set character a free action. The set character can use Perplex until your next turn, but only to modify a character's attack value by -2. At the beginning of your next turn, remove the spell. Again, not a bad ability when using against your opponent's figures. And the trap ability, called Call of the Hunted, states that when the set character would be KO'd, instead roll a d6 that can't be re-rolled. On the result of a 1 through a 4, the character is KO'd normally. And on the result of a 5, return it to the starting area on its last non-KO click. And on the result of a 6, return it to any starting area on its last non-KO click. Then heal 1 damage. Now that ability could be very useful when playing a game with the Yu-Gi-Oh! Rules. Next up we have Gaia the Dragon Champion, who could be played at 225 points with 9 clicks of life. Gaia the Dragon Champion is very much like Alligator Sword Dragon, where this character also offers a fusion ability, and the characters that are required for fusion are Gaia the Fierce Knight and Curse of Dragon. And like Alligator Sword Dragon, Gaia the Dragon Champion offers you the move and attack ability and a duo attack. Now Gaia's dial starts off with 2 white abilities, one for a movement called Double Dragon Lance, which states, Gaia the Dragon Champion can use Charge and Flurry. When Gaia the Dragon Champion uses the move and attack ability, he can use Flurry instead of the close combat attack. And the second, called Destroy the Flotation Ring, states that when Gaia the Dragon Champion hits a character with the wing symbol or the transporter wing symbol, that character has a boot symbol for the rest of the game. even if this power is lost. Now the double Dragon Lance is a great ability, especially on the offense, but personally my favorite is this Destroy the Flotation Ring. Taking flight away from an opposing character would be devastating to his strategy. Now we can't forget that Gaia is also toting an 18 impervious for defense, which is going to make it really hard for your opponent to successfully hit an attack. Now on click 2, we see that Gaia continues to hold his abilities, but once we get to clicks 3 and 4, we see that he drops his white attack ability and impervious, and trades them out for precision strike and invulnerability. Now on clicks 5 and 6, we do see another transition, where Gaia picks up charge instead of his white movement ability, and trades in his precision strike and invulnerability for quake and impervious on click 5, and a quake and invulnerability combo on click 6. Now on click 7, we do see a slight change where he drops his quake ability and picks up his white special attack ability one more time. As we close towards the end of his dial, we see a slight ramp up in Gaia's abilities. He picks up 2 clicks of impervious, as well as some added exploit weakness. Overall, for 225 points, I feel Gaia the Dragon Champion is totally worth it. He offers a full 9 clicks of some amazing abilities and attack values, and not to mention a full dial of nothing but impervious and invulnerability for defense. And last but not least, we're going to take a look at our Blue Eyes White Dragon, which was our chase pool in this box. Now, Blue Eyes can be played at 200 points with 9 clicks of life. Blue Eyes White Dragon opens up with a combination of running shot with a white attack ability, an 18 impervious, and 4 damage with leadership. Now his white attack ability, which is called White Lightning, states that Blue Eyes White Dragon can use Penetrating Psychic Blast and Pulse Wave. When it uses either, hit characters are given an action token, and any that can't be given an action token are dealt 1 penetrating damage after action resolve, giving you the option to deal out 5 penetrating damage. Not to mention that you could also use Pulse Wave, increasing the damage to multiple characters. Now, like I mentioned earlier, Blue Eyes does hold on to these stats up until his 4th click, at which time we do see a transition in his dial. Blue Eyes drops his running shot and picks up hypersonic speed with a combination of Penetrating Psychic Blast. And if that wasn't enough, Blue Eyes here picks up invulnerability for defense and continues to hold on to his leadership. Now on click 5, we do see a slight change with Blue Eyes where he drops his leadership. And again, we see that he continues to hold these abilities into his next click. Now on click 7, he completely transitions towards an end of the dial situation, where he drops all of his stats and picks up Pulse Wave and Toughness for defense. But don't let that deter you. As you get closer to his end click, his attack values and defense values increase, eventually leading you to his last click with an 11 attack for a 5 damage. Overall, for 200 points, Blue Eyes White Dragon is totally worth it. This version of Blue Eyes is a much better representation than the figure that we reviewed from the starter set. This Blue Eyes offers a huge range of nothing but penetrating damage across the board, and I have to admit, I am really happy to have pulled him. Alright everyone, that does it for us in this unboxing video. I hope you all enjoyed watching. I for one have to admit that this Yu-Gi-Oh set is really well done. WizKids really did a great job at developing this set. And you know, when it comes down to it, if you're going to release a product that is this well done, I don't care if you push it back a few times. So good job WizKids, and keep up the good work. I for one know that I will be looking to pick up more of these figures as soon as I can. And speaking of picking up figures, I'd like to thank Troll again for sponsoring this video. And for all of you guys watching at home, don't forget to check out trollandtoad.com today for all of your Heroclix needs by either clicking the link up in the top right hand corner of this video, or I'll make sure to have a link down in the description below. And while you're at it, if you're not a subscriber, now's your chance. Hit that subscribe button today. Well, I hope you all have a great week, and I will see you all later.